Hey everyone, I'm Truett Smith.
I'm Alan Britt.
I'm Shane Ireland.
I'm Tyler Caldwell, and thank you for joining us for another mystery review, the April 2024 edition.
Oh yeah.
Today we are smoking some cigars, and we're smoking some Dapper Cigar Company cigars.
We think.
The cigars are from Ian
Correct.
Reith of Dapper Cigars.
Correct.
Great dude, by the way.
Great.
Had really fun time hanging out
He's
with him at PCA. He was in the office too before then, and that was super fun.
We just dropped our shameless plug. We just dropped our first collaboration with Dapper.
That's right.
The Smoking Pipes Dapper
La Madrina.
La Madrina exclusive. That is the La Madrina,
Which is the same size
Yeah,
as this.
it's the La Madrina Lonsdale.
It's a Lonsdale.
Yeah, we already all clipped our caps here,
yeah,
but those are a fantail,
Right.
So that would have been a
but just
pretty-
the Smoking Pipes exclusive is the Fantail.
Exactly. Incredible cigar, aged over 1 year, probably closer to 2 years actually. Yeah, check them out. They're amazing.
Delicious and still in stock.
Yeah, they're amazing.
But all that to say, we are smoking what seems to be a Lonsdale, but it is not the La
It is
Madrina
not.
Smoking
No.
Pipes Lonsdale.
Both in appearance and aroma, cold draw. I was just like, all right, like. Part of me thought maybe he's throwing us like a really early sample that didn't happen to have a fantail
yeah.
or something.
Yeah.
But I've smoked so many of the other ones. I'm pretty sure that's not what this is.
Yeah.
Also, was it 2022? What year did the Desvalito make the top three?
Like 2 years ago.
It was 20.
Yeah,
I think it was 2022.
I think it got top two, actually. I know it wasn't number one, but I think it was number two.
I remember it was number three, or in the top three specifically, because it went in the sampler pack that we did.
Yeah, I think it was Eleanor. I think it was the year Eleanor Rose won.
Yep.
And then Dapper, Desvalito, and
Street Tacos.
Street Tacos.
And let's also not forget last year's number one was the Dapper Holy Smoke.
Holy smoke, yeah.
Oh yeah, that's right.
And in fact, Dapper was the first brand in the 5 years that we've been doing our end of the year cigar list. Dapper's the first brand to make top three.
Twice.
Yeah, at least, or
Yeah.
more than once. Other brands have made like top 10,
Sure,
maybe even top 5. But
I'm pretty sure Shade Bellicoso ranked in 2021.
Top 5,
yeah,
I think,
potentially. Yeah. So anyway, we've been a big fan of Ian's cigars for a long time, and the one that we're smoking here is eerily familiar.
I was telling the guys before we started rolling, but I think I might have smoked this literally last night.
It's your Slumdog Millionaire.
Yeah, right. No. and I told Tyler, I was like, man, I need a win, and I hope this is what I smoked last night, because that would be just too perfect. Slumdog Millionaire style.
Yeah.
So I don't know if I've ever smoked this, but I wanted to touch on this size once more. I love Lonsdale.
It's so
Yes.
good.
That's my absolute number one favorite size.
Corona is definitely like 5x42 is my go-to, but when I want to, like, we're sitting down hanging out with
Exactly.
the boys, Lonsdale's the way to go.
I feel like the Lonsdale is the 2024 Churchill. You know what I mean? Again, if I want to sit down and have like a nice session, not just a quick smoke, I'm reaching for something like this. It's the perfect balance between like the ratio of wrapper to filler and binder. A slightly bigger ring gauge and a slightly bigger cigar is going to be, in most cases, a little bit more mild. But I do like the balance of sort of intensity and complexity that a size like this offers.
We also, me and I know you guys do too, like Lanceros, and those are great cigars too. But those are trickier to roll. There is more maybe variation in the construction. They can be tight, all that stuff.
It can be intense in flavor too.
Yeah. I
Even
feel
like mild to medium.
I feel like the
ones.
Lonsdale is the best of all the worlds.
Yeah,
A
it is.
Lonsdale is just a chunky Lancero.
It is just a chunky Lancero.
Chunky.
One of my nicknames in high school. Let's see. Flavor-wise,
Yeah, you were about to say something.
no, I was
before we
just
started rolling.
but mostly. Oh yeah, I was. So when I was lighting and the first retrohale, I straight up got like, broadly speaking, like Mexican candy. Like I felt like I tasted tamarind, and then I got another taste on the palate that reminded me of like the little like watermelon hard candies covered in chili. Like there is a pretty decent balance of like tangy, spicy, and slightly sweet. I would say more tangy and spicy than sweet on this one so far, but yeah, man, I love that. I swear, I've had that before too. That tamarind. I can't remember
like
off the top of my head.
There's been a few times.
Yeah, there's been a few times where I've tasted that, and man, it's a killer note in a smoke.
Kind of like, have you ever had the tamarind Jumex?
Oh, all day.
Yeah. I totally
You
get
see
that.
what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I was thinking specifically like the little it's kind of like fruit leather, but the pulparindo, like the little candy. But yeah, the tamarindo. Jumex is pretty.
It's not
pretty
Jumex.
fire. It's not. That's why when I text you JAJA. It's like ha 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 ha.
Also, a lot of nutty notes in this too. Like, I don't know, I can't pick out any specific nut.
Nice.
Do that scene in Best in Show. You ever seen Best in Show?
Many
It's like
times.
hazelnut, macadamia nut, peanut, walnut, cashew nut, almond nut. That's the cigar.
That's the cigar.
On the Retro Hell, I'm also getting. I don't want to use this word, but it's the only thing that comes to mind.
Jumex.
Wintergreen. Like,
Wintergreen.
Like gum?
Not.
Oh, or like
It's like a mint.
You don't want to say mint or spearmint or like it's like just generally
because it's not
You mean like
that.
a
It's-
dip?
Yeah.
Yeah, but not dip.
Hints of grizzly winter.
it's a grizzly wintergreen.
It's in Copenhagen.
But yeah, there's a definite mintiness, but a little more intense than I get some other times.
And it's not like obviously clearly flavored with
Right,
mint. It's
right,
not like that. You're just getting basically herbal notes.
Yeah,
like mints and
minty
herb.
herbal notes.
So yeah,
I was gonna say on the retro, I get a little kind of like a vegetal kind of note.
It's vegetal and earthy, like at this point in the cigar, mostly for me.
there's a little bit of spice on the Retro Hill for me. Just like a lot of graham cracker stuff, like. The sweet, not the honey graham crackers, like a normal graham cracker where you have like slight sweetness, but like a really oaty kind of
grainy.
yeah. Oatmeal.
I would say like probably the most predominant note I get right now is like ramen noodle.
What?
Nice.
Just
like
straight up
pho,
ramen.
like broth,
Like raw, crunchy ramen noodle?
No, yeah, like the 59-cent pack you get from Walmart.
like just the noodles, or
Just
like
the noodle.
after you've cooked them and everything.
just the noodle.
So you're what
Eating
kind
it
of
like a rice cake.
what kind of monster are you that you're not like putting seasoning or butter or like the
Look,
packet on your
I do it for the protein, man.
Oh my God.
I'm gonna make this.
For all 0.9 grams of protein.
I'm gonna make this story 30 seconds so I don't bore everyone to death.
That's a
But
long time.
In
You're
high
bored
school, we would take the ramen noodle packets and not cook them. We would
Sprinkle-
just crunch them up, and
Sprinkle the seasoning
it,
it.
and
Absolutely.
eat it,
Absolutely.
I'm pretty sure, yeah.
All day.
I'm pretty sure they do that in like Asian countries too. Like it's just like a snack. They'll
Yeah.
just eat the dry noodles.
Yeah. Crunchy noodles with the seasoning packet on
That
top.
makes me feel way less weird.
Yeah. No,
Oh,
that's
yeah.
authentic as
Yeah,
far as
man.
I know.
Cultural.
Could be wrong.
Could
If you're
be
from an Asian country, sound off in the comments about if I'm accurate on that. But I'm pretty sure.
Well, in Southern California, it was prevalent.
yeah.
In the late 90s, early 2000s. I am getting like some very slight unsweet chocolate.
Yeah.
Like a little bit of cocoa.
I can get a little of that.
Yeah, the sweetness is definitely kind of like dark chocolate, bitter chocolate type of notes.
There's also, at least I'm getting, I'm not insinuating there's like a sweetened cap at all, but a slight sweetness actually on my lips that maybe just comes from, the natural
Within?
sweetness of
It comes from within.
Just because you're a nice guy.
No, I can see that. Like a little bit of like
old
the,
sweet lips.
it makes you question like how aged is the tobacco? Like are you getting some of that sugariness from the tobacco?
Also, too, guys. So the wrapper is really, really pretty. There are a lot of veins, but they're like very fine. But dude, toothy, super toothy. But like really pinpoint, fine,
Micro tooth.
fine grit.
Micro
Yeah.
tooth.
If this
Baby
was
tooth.
sandpaper,
Baby
it'd be 1,000 grit.
No, like this cigar, if it is what I think it is, this is my favorite cigar from Dapper, and to me it's the perfect balance of like easy and complex. Like if you're just sitting down and smoking this, you can enjoy every second, like paying close attention to the cigar. But if you're sitting around talking or whatever, like it's equally as enjoyable
Sure.
in its own way. I would say it's like too good of a cigar to like, I don't know, smoke outside while you're at the golf course or something like that. Like you probably won't.
Give it a little more attention.
Yeah. I feel like that'd be kind of a waste just for how good this cigar is.
Yeah.
But like hanging out with friends, talking, or just on your own, paying attention to the cigar, like this holds up in both cases super, super well.
I also do feel like, because I mean, maybe I've expressed this in these videos before, but these guys know, I kind of refuse to smoke outside. I almost never do. I just find smoking indoors to be more enjoyable. Like I get the full experience, the full aroma. I will say that this cigar, I think, does have enough meat to it that you could smoke it outside, like camping, whatever, on a fishing trip, and not lose so much of the flavor that it ends up feeling like a mild cigar.
I smoked it again. If this is the cigar,
We were fishing last night.
no. But I was sitting out on the porch last night, and it wasn't a windy night or anything like that. It was like the perfect weather to be smoking outside, but it held up perfectly. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I don't think I wouldn't have wanted to like be doing something like yard work or something like that, because you're not going to appreciate it to the fullest.
I also just wouldn't want to do yard work.
I just pass on the yard work at all. But so Truett's, I'm picking up on this. So Truett's strategy pre-mystery review is the night before to just smoke as many of our cigars in stock as.
I actually smoked a dozen cigars last night. I had them all laid out, and I was just every other puff going down the line.
Even if you did that and still guessed right,
that'd be impressive.
That's an incredible.
I know.
That's like the odds are still.
No, I
we have more than a dozen cigars back there.
Right. Really?
Yeah.
I've only smoked a dozen.
Just the same 12 over and over again. You're like, one of these days I'm gonna hit big.
Yeah.
Mystery review.
It's like the lotto. I always pick the same numbers, and it's just like one of these days I'm gonna hit big.
It's gonna work. The reason nobody wins the lottery is because they switch up the numbers all the time. I mean, come on, commit.
Exactly. I mean, that is a strategy in like roulette and stuff. Like keep the same numbers on and just wait it out. I mean, I'm no expert, but I've seen people do that.
Oh.
I don't know if they won or not though.
Man. Yeah, this is such a...
The Retro Hill's just so good.
The Retro Hill's so good. I was going to say comforting. I've used that word a lot to describe pipe tobaccos. But I think this is a cigar that falls into that category for me. Like, and I think when I say that, what I mean is more or less what Truett's talking about. Like a cigar that's going to fit a number of occasions and give you the satisfaction in a variety of situations, but also like high replay value. You know what I mean? Like going back to a cigar like this over and over again feels good. You know what I mean? Like I'm envious of any pipe or cigar or any pipe or cigar smoker or like any beer drinker or whatever that is like super loyal to their one thing that they smoke or drink all the time. I'll never be that guy. But sometimes if I'm feeling idealistic, I'm like picturing myself like I could smoke this all the time.
I think it's the same kind of feeling or idea is like going to your favorite bar or like restaurant on a weekly basis. Like they know you, you know them. They know what they're preparing your order as soon as you walk in the door. That type of familiarity and rapport is just, I mean, it's just a great feeling.
Oh, it's the best.
And like having that with tobacco is similar.
Sure. And having something on hand, even in your collection, that you have like boxes on deck or whatever, where if you're not feeling like anything in particular, or if you're like me and you just like really want to take the night off of making decisions, like you just want to grab something easy that you know you're going to enjoy every time. Whatever we might be smoking right now is a super, super good.
Yeah.
Assuming this is a Dapper cigar, all of his stuff is currently made at Naxa, right?
If not all of it, most of it.
Yeah. This gives me kind of that signature Naxa profile. Like, I feel like everything in their portfolio has this deep richness underneath.
And
it.
balance.
Yeah,
like
super
like
balance.
Raul is so
Raul
good with balance.
is. I was just gonna say props to Raul for a minute, because I think in this side of the industry, on the cigar side of the industry, I think what a lot of people may not understand fully is that you have a lot of brand owners, even the ones that are super hands-on with blending their cigars. You still need somebody in the factory on a daily basis as a master blender to oversee the production, to make sure that the blends are staying true to what they are, to be a sounding board for the creative person behind the brand.
And ensure consistency. And ensure that the vision of the owner or the blender is achieved in the actual factory. Like that's the head blender or factory manager, whatever the title is, that's their job to like make sure it happens.
Exactly. So I think a lot of the guys that we see that are the faces of these brands, the ones who started it, the founders, the creative force behind them, while they absolutely know their stuff, they're leaning on somebody behind the scenes like Raul to achieve all of the things that Truett just laid out. And I was just going to point out that, like, man, I don't think I've ever smoked a cigar that Raul was involved in making that I didn't really like.
Yeah.
It's like Unstolen
He might be my
Valor
favorite blender.
from Dunbar.
Yeah.
Right, so all of the other Maestro de Sacas are blended by Saka, and then Raul blended the Unstolen Valor.
Oh, I didn't know that.
And somehow it tastes like a Raul cigar.
Sure.
Yeah.
Like it has that balance and meatiness to it.
Well, on that note, so Dapper does have the Desvalido Diesla.
Yes.
Which is basic. I think the story goes something like this: like Ian blended, came up with the Desvalido, but then he kind of gave Raul Diesla kind of creative license to tweak it how he would want to.
Right.
And so Raul tweaked it. I think he added some more Nicaraguan leaf to it or whatever, and
Amped up the intensity a little bit.
yeah, and so then they released the Desvalido Diesla. I have not smoked that nearly as much as the original Desvalido. What I do remember is it's a bit punchier, a bit spicier, a bit bolder.
Sure.
I'm not getting that from this. This feels
It's a darker.
very,
It's a shade darker too.
maybe
right?
too. I'm not getting that from this. This feels very much like the original, but that is throwing that out there.
One of the things about the original Desvalido, particularly in the Lonsdale size, that keeps me coming back is I do get some of those like stone fruit notes. I do get some of those like ripe,
It has like
red fruit,
like 20-year age Virginia type notes.
Vibes.
in it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Not like the whole
Absolutely.
thing, but
There's hints
some
of it.
Some of those notes.
There's hints of it in the retro hail every time I've smoked one that remind me of like my favorite aged
Aged
tobaccos.
pseudo.
Yeah. So again, I am starting now. I'm smoking a lot slower than Tyler, as per usual. Tyler's almost done, but I am starting to get those notes now that I'm a little bit of the ways into the cigar.
Yeah.
Perfect construction.
No, that's the thing too.
I mean, beautiful.
Also,
Stacking dimes.
Also of note, and this is not true with every cigar, but every person that I've recommended this cigar to, who I've been like, hey, have you tried Dapper's Desvalido? And they're like, oh no, I've never tried that before. And I say, you have to try it. Every single one of them is like, yeah, this cigar is amazing.
Amazing.
Yeah, I would definitely say if you're ever wanting to introduce yourself to Dapper, like Desvalido would be the one I would suggest going for first.
I think that's good advice. I would say Desvalido Lonsdale.
I'm a Kubo guy myself.
La Madrina Shade Bellicoso
Yeah.
is way up there for me still, and the original La Madrina in the
Corona Gorda.
in the Corona Gorda size. Yeah, in the
I would,
Corona size.
on to Tyler's note, I feel like this cigar doesn't cater to a specific preference either. Like, if you like really, really spicy cigars, there's something to enjoy in this. If you like, more mild, sweet, herbal type cigars, like, there's something in this for you. Whereas, like not everyone's a fan of shade cigars. And even though the shade is not your typical shade, I could see someone being like, I don't really like shade, that's not where I'm going to start. Whereas this, like, no matter what you prefer, if you like Maduros, if you like Habanos, if you like shade wrappers, like, there are hints of kind of everything in here that it regardless of your preferences, I maintain there's something to like in this cigar. Assuming it's the Desvalido.
Yeah, we're doing a lot.
We're doing a lot of assumptions.
Yeah,
Regardless,
pretty-
whatever this cigar is, I feel like it
hits the same. Accomplishes the same thing.
I also get that in the Desvalido.
I also get that in the Desvalido. Do we remember the components of the Desvalido?
I think it's Ecuadorian Habano.
I think it is too.
But yeah,
yeah,
I think it's like pretty. I think it's just like Nicaraguan
Just like
binder
tobacco.
filler. Yeah, I think it's like tobacco from Central America, maybe something from South America.
I want to say the filler is multi-region.
I don't think there's Dominican in it. Are you thinking like Honduran?
I can't remember if is it this
Indonesian or
Ooh,
I can't remember if it's this or the La Madrina that has U.S. or Dominican.
La Madrina has
La
U.S.
Madrina,
Okay,
yeah.
yeah,
That
La
might be what I'm
Madrina
thinking.
has
La
US.
Madrina has a
La Madrina has
more
like 9
diverse-
different types of tobacco in it or something.
La Madrina
It's
has a
lot.
more
Yeah,
diverse
it's a
country
lot.
blend. I'm pretty sure Desvalido is just 2, maybe 3.
Yeah, like Ecuadorian Habano, Nicaraguan.
Right. Maybe the wrapper's Sumatran or something like that, but I think it's just Nicaraguan.
I remember
and
there's
Ecuadorian
something
Habano.
being unique in the blend for Desvalido.
Well, what's the Kubo?
Kubo's a Sumatra.
That's what I thought. Yeah. That's the Sumatra line. Yeah.
And my personal favorite.
And your personal
Man,
favorite.
I love that Kubo.
That's fair. So, yeah, I'm going to guess Desvalido Lonsdale, if that wasn't obvious already.
Yeah.
And if I'm wrong, I might never be able to do a mystery review again. Because I literally smoked this last night, so there's no excuse of like, oh, I haven't smoked that in a while.
It's an Orlick Golden Slice situation. So real quick. We were just at the Chicago Pipe Show like days ago.
That's why my voice is
Yeah.
like this.
I'm also going to blame that if I don't get this right because like I smoke too much and like blah blah blah. So, but aside from there you go.
Damn it.
You can put it back on there. Aside from having a handy scapegoat for why we don't get this correct after being pretty confident about it, I also wanted to point out, I didn't tell you this, a customer came up to me and he was like, I'm sorry that I made fun of you guys all those years ago for not guessing Orlick Golden Slice right.
No way.
Yeah, and he was like, "What you're doing is really hard," and like whatever. And I was like, "Dude, it's cool. Like we make fun of ourselves about it a lot, but it's my point is it's still haunting us."
Yeah. For newcomers to the series who maybe haven't been watching us for that long, was it last year or 2 years ago?
It was more than a year ago.
Yeah, there was 2 years ago or whatever. We did a mystery tobacco review and we were given Orlick Golden Slice. No age, no trickery, no nothing.
Fresh
it was
tin.
just fresh Golden.
Well, it did come out of a mason jar.
That's true.
It did come out of a mason jar, and Oxygen does.
All that to say, we did not get it. And
Even though all of us have smoked like a lot of it.
It has haunted us. It has haunted us ever since. So the fact that a customer said that means a lot. So thank you.
Yeah,
whoever
Very
you are.
much appreciated. No,
I wasn't walking around like I can't wait for that apology. That guy, one of these days I'm going to get that apology.
No,
But-
we should do at a show. We should have on our table little baggies
Oh yeah.
and cards and have people smoke it and try to guess.
It's actually not a bad idea.
That's a very good idea.
Give a
Very
little
good
prize to whoever gets it right.
All right. Everyone's getting a behind-the-scenes look at
Yeah,
pipe
we're
show,
just
pipe show
brainstorming at this
planning.
point.
Yeah.
I do before we like finalize our guesses and maybe are wrong. How is the cigar changing for you guys at the moment?
It's deepened in flavor. The flavor hasn't necessarily changed a lot, but it's increased.
Richer.
Yeah, increased in intensity.
Yeah, I would say it's been kind of in waves. Like it gets like a little more complexity of those flavors, but then it kind of like settles out a little bit. But it's just like coming in and out of waves for me.
And that kind of fits in with what I was saying earlier about the ease of smoking the cigar. Is it's not one of those cigars that's like changing dynamically throughout the thirds as you smoke it, meaning you don't have to like be paying attention or else you're gonna not notice it. To me, it's very consistent. It has kind of the same flavor profile throughout, but it does ramp up in intensity as you smoke it, and the complexity that it does have is super enjoyable. So I want it to last the entire thing.
I'm getting more like chocolate richness than I was before. A little bit less of the spice, a little bit less of those sort of stone fruits and dark fruit notes.
Yeah, the spice I just retrohaled, and you're right, the spice has decreased.
Starting to get some cedar, starting to get some woodiness. Maybe not cedar specifically, but like a woodiness for sure. Not a ton of earth, but I'm getting the chocolate and the woodiness.
Yeah, to me, it's like that very, stereotypical Ecuadorian Habano type of sweetness, like that chocolate type of notes.
I know this is a wild comparison, but it reminds me of the forest. Like, I see myself smoking this in the woods. Like super dank.
Yeah, there's kind of that.
earthy.
Exactly. Like forest after a rain.
Yeah,
kind of get
yeah.
that.
Like when you're in the forest, you
aroma.
can get down real low and put your head by the ground.
Gotta watch out for the Smurfs coming out.
Watch out for the Smurfs. For sure.
So it tastes like wet leaves, is what you're saying.
That's not inaccurate.
That's what it is tobacco. Yeah.
But it's definitely. I don't know. You know, sometimes when you smoke something, your brain kind of takes you somewhere.
Of course.
And that's where it takes me to like.
That's these entire reviews. It's just our brain
Trying to remember.
the flavor, taking our brains somewhere.
Like, without going on a super rant, but like that's one thing I love about tobacco is the ability to connect, like your palate connecting with a memory. Like no stranger, or no stranger to saying this. Like love Mad Fiddler Flake, great tobacco. But like every time I smoke it, it takes me back to like baking cookies with my grandma as a child.
Yeah.
I thought you were going to say it takes you back to all the places you've smoked meth, which is like a lot.
Yeah, everywhere.
No, that's true for coffee for me too. Like well roasted, good blended coffee does that. Good tobacco does as well.
You said coffee, and now all of a sudden I'm thinking a little bit of coffee action.
This would go well with
it would
coffee.
go well with it, but I mean, even like the chocolatey, woody, earthy, leathery notes. Like I do tend to associate that with certain coffees as well. Yeah, there's kind of like a chocolate covered espresso bean, maybe
I can get that
going on. Yeah. Power suggestion, but still.
Yeah. Anyone gonna guess something other than Desvalito? Are we ready for that?
I'm piggybacking. It might be the only cigar in Dapper's portfolio that I haven't smoked.
Shame.
Yeah,
But
for shame.
Yeah, we got to get the shame bell. Tyler's quiet over here.
Yeah.
He's going to pull one out of the bag at the last second and then
Sheesh.
not give us a unanimous decision.
and be right.
And be right.
I'm trying to decide if, my gut is telling me to go with Truett, but I want to know if I should play devil's advocate just for some fun here.
What's your devil's advocate pick, or like your contrary pick?
He doesn't want to say.
I don't know. I've been trying to rack my brain of like what else could this be?
It looks like Desvalito. It tastes like Desvalito. It smokes like Desvalito. Must be
La Madrina.
La Madrina.
I toyed with La Madrina for a second, to be honest. The size isn't quite right. The strength isn't quite right, but I did toy with it for a second.
Yeah, when you said this could be a
those.
sample of our exclusive without the fantail,
Yeah.
I was like, oh,
I'm almost 100% sure that's not what it is.
I agree. Yeah,
I've rolled through a box of those in the last week or two.
Really?
Yeah, and yeah, it is a little bit milder than this.
And that's the thing is, normally I would attribute that to the age, but if this was a sample, it would be as old, if not older.
yeah. I'm 99% sure this is Desvalito and not the Smoking Pipes exclusive, but I've been wrong before and said the exact same thing.
Yeah.
Also, speaking of coffee, shout out Methodical Coffee.
Hey,
Travelers Rest, South
Methodical.
Carolina.
the boys.
Shout out Bo.
Big
Bo,
Bo.
head blender. Or head roaster, I guess probably is what his title's called.
Roaster manager.
Great coffee. Check it out if you haven't.
Head roaster. He's just like mean to people. This is getting, and that's the thing too, is I liked the first 15, 20 minutes of the cigar. And I remember this from my experience with other Desvalitos that I've smoked. It is starting to get like a little more complex. The richness keeps amping up, and I'm starting to get to that sweet spot where I'm getting almost everything that I want out of the cigar, kind of with every puff.
Yeah, when I was smoking the Desvalito last night, one thing that stood out to me was like I was down to the nub, like could barely hold a cigar, and I didn't want to stop smoking it.
Yeah.
Like typically, once you get like an inch or two left, it kind of gets.
I rarely smoke
It gets
a cigar
acrid. It can get a
that
little
far
bitter, and
down.
you're just like, okay, I'm done. I'm not. It's not a detriment to the cigar at all, or to the blender or anything like that. But with the Desvalito last night, I wanted to smoke it all.
That speaks to the construction
Yeah,
too.
yeah.
Yeah, that speaks to the construction too.
Yeah, because that's what stops me most of the time. It's not necessarily flavor, but you get down to here and it's not necessarily burning the best, or you have really light.
I was so into it smoking it last night that I forgot to take the band off and like realized like I went to like ash and realized, oh shoot, I'm like right on the band, and I was like just so engrossed in it I wasn't even paying attention.
That's when things get really interesting.
Yeah.
You start smoking that band.
Like, oh, it smells like
That's when
burnt.
you know it's good.
Tastes like burnt paper. Huh. That's an
How do they do that?
Yeah, that's an interesting flavor.
they
Never
achieve
gotten that before. Some glue in there too.
I'm getting
a couple pigments.
Yeah.
The smoke is purple.
I mean, the smoke is pretty blue on this cigar, and it's also like voluminous. Man, I'm getting a unique flavor now, and I'm trying to like put my finger on it, but something shifted in the last like minute or so for me.
It's like raisinets.
Yeah, there's like bacon. There's like
I'm
bacon,
getting, like chocolate covered
baking spices. Like there's some cinnamon, nutmeg, allspice, whatever going on.
raisins. It's definitely shifted.
The
stone
little
fruits.
raisinets thing is
The
on
stone
point.
fruits has,
It's on point,
has
like dark
increased.
chocolate and like raisin.
Straight up.
Jeez.
Yeah, like much sweeter now, for me at least.
Yeah, the spice is almost completely dissipated.
And at the risk of like, misusing the term, I mean, I think this is probably more how the term was used back in the day. Not in like an additive way, obviously. It's an aromatic cigar, man.
Yeah.
Like there's like even the side stream, like there's a lot of interesting like aromatic qualities to this cigar. Again, I get the coffee thing a little bit. Yeah, like hot chocolate.
Almost like
Woodiness.
almost like a hint of like pure vanilla bean for me.
That's interesting. That's interesting.
Chocolate and vanilla can pinch hit for each other too. So I
Yeah,
can see
woodiness, chocolate, vanilla, those are all part of the
that.
same
Yeah.
same little part of the flavor spectrum.
You come up with an alternative yet to Desvalito, or you
Nah, I can't.
you just want to be different? That's all it is.
He's a rebel.
It's not. Yeah, it's not that you actually think
Just
it's
trying to
something
make sure you
different.
get the win, man. That's all.
It is nice when it's unanimous.
Yeah. Mhm.
Yeah, that feels good usually.
we lose together or we win together.
Exactly.
I like it.
Shall
All right.
Shall we find out?
I mean,
Do it.
yeah, I guess
I'm
so.
ready.
Yep.
We're all saying Desvalito Lonsdale.
I am.
Desvalito OG Lonsdale.
Yes, not the Diesel. Mm-hmm. Tyler, I need to hear you say it.
Desvalito OG Lonsdale.
All right, we're all unanimous.
Boom.
Boom. Done. So if we're wrong, it's totally Tyler's fault.
He said it. He said it last.
I'll take the blame.
Hi, this is Ian from Dapper Cigar Company, and this is the mystery cigar that I picked. It is the Desvalito Lonsdale. It's one of my favorite cigars that I have blended, and it's probably continually on my rotation of cigars that I really love to smoke. And so I hope you guys enjoyed this cigar as much as I enjoy both blending it and smoking it myself.
Nice.
Nice.
Heck yeah.
Stuff, boy.
It's really fortunate that Truett decided to smoke that cigar.
It
last
is,
night.
and I didn't even know that Dapper was the mystery inquisitor.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh,
wow.
I had no idea.
I honestly wasn't paying attention until I saw on my calendar yesterday. Like at the end of the day, it's like, oh, here's your stuff for tomorrow, and it said Dapper. I was like, oh, cool. But thank you very much, Ian. Also, drinks are on you next time because like a unanimous, correct
right.
guess.
That's right.
I mean,
That's right.
I think you owe us a drink.
He gave us the cigars and also now owes us drinks.
Yes,
I
yes. The
like
free
that.
cigars were not enough.
Yeah, I like how that works.
But yeah, I'm trying to remember the last time I smoked one of these. I've been smoking the La Madrina Smoking Pipes exclusive heavily in the last like month and a half or so. This reminded me why the Desvalito
It's
Lonsdale
killer.
made our top 3 in 2022, I think was the year, and why I've smoked so many of them. I'm seriously shocked you never tried this before.
I will know.
Yeah, Steve hadn't either. I gave him one at Chicago. And-
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
dude, yeah. And like I said, back to the comforting thing. Crazy high replay value on this cigar.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I do feel kind of like, I do feel though that me smoking it last night maybe taints the win a little bit.
No. Take that, man. It was cool.
But I do.
That's like saying we've smoked anything that we've been given before.
Yeah, I do
Like,
feel like even if I hadn't smoked one last night, I still would have come down on Desvalito. Obviously, we'll never know. But
I'm positive we've done mystery cigars before where I smoked the actual cigar the day before and still got it wrong.
didn't get
Still got it wrong.
That's true.
And you have like mentioned that cigar, and I've been like, I smoked that yesterday. There's no way.
Yeah,
That has happened.
That's happened.
That has
You're like, absolutely not. Like throwing us off the trail. It was an inside job. Yeah.
How much do the Inquisitors pay you?
And cigars.
If anyone brings up this blend, just
You're just like
Nix
just,
it.
Just tell them you smoked
Immediately.
one this morning. It's not it. You know, I will say too though. Yeah, I mean, I also have a handful of these that I sat on for a while. They age super well.
Yes, they do.
They age very well. Replay value's high, and Yeah, I don't know. I think. Go ahead.
I was just to say again, construction is just incredible. Like
absolutely.
Raul's factory, Naxa, makes killer cigars both flavor-wise and construction-wise. I don't think any of us have had to touch up.
No.
And that's...
And I did mine poorly too.
Yeah.
And it like worked itself out.
I smoked mine outside last night, and I think I had to touch up once, but I also didn't have a great light. So like that's great percentage.
Yeah.
So check out the Dapper Desvalito Lonsdale if you have or haven't smoked it. Available on Smoking Pipes. Also check out our exclusive, the La Madrina.
And check out all the offerings from Dapper.
They're all-
You will not be disappointed.
Exactly.
Just go ahead and add one of everything to your cart. That's
Yeah.
the safest
Yeah,
way.
yeah, yeah.
The safest way.
Pick
to do
your
it.
favorite size and all the blends.
Create
Go
your
from there.
own sampler.
Yeah.
Well done, gentlemen.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you next month.
I needed a win this month.
Same.